Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to ORTM 1, your national television. First, top news. The Minister of Justice, representing the Prime Minister, presided over the opening ceremony of the 29th edition of AED, Democratic Forum, on Wednesday, 10th December at CCB. Mali and Guinea strengthen their economic and trade cooperation. The Prime Minister, head of government, on a friendship and working visit to Conakry, had a fruitful discussion with his Guinea counterpart and was received in audience by the President of the Republic of Guinea, Admiral Mamadi Doumbia. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ORTM News. Prime Minister received the United States Ambassador to Mali in audience this week. The ambassador came to convey a message of support from the American authorities, who remain open to any cooperation with Mali. The United States welcomes all opportunities for collaboration between business people from both countries. The audience reviewed the security situation. For Major General Abdoulaye Maiga, this visit provided an opportunity to congratulate the ambassador on behalf of His Excellency Army General Assimi Goïta, President of the Transition and Head of State, for her commendable efforts in the service of our two countries. The head of government welcomed the favorable view of the United States towards the transitional authorities. The Prime Minister also explained the position of the Confederation of Sahel States, which is now a single area and theater of operation. However, he denounced the state that sponsored terrorism, which are behind propaganda and excessive disinformation. End of the 29th edition of Democratic Consultation Forum AD. After several hours of discussion, public hearings and technical work, the curtain fell on Wednesday on the 29th edition of the Democratic Consultation Forum. Presiding over the closing ceremony, the Minister of Justice praised this essential civic exercise, which in his view confirms the vitality of democratic dialogue and the willingness of institutions to strengthen transparency in public management. Khadija Tukone and Angel Dambele's report.
In his speech, the Minister of Justice, speaking on behalf of the Prime Minister, paid tribute to the citizens who had voiced their concerns before the meeting for democratic interpellation. It is worth recalling that this forum is a mechanism able of guiding reforms and fostering a culture of accountability within the state apparatus. The event's main organizer commended his commitment regarding the recommendations resulting from the proceedings. He announced the establishment of a monitoring system to ensure that the commitments made during the public hearings are taken into account. Given current events, the minister also commended the efforts of the Malian armies, economic operators, and especially drivers in managing the fuel crisis in Mali. On behalf of the Prime Minister, the Minister of Justice declared the government's commitment to maintaining the democratic process of public inquiry as a key forum for citizens' expression. He further invited all stakeholders to continue this dynamic of dialogue, which is undoubtable and essential condition for strengthening the rule of law and fostering trust between the state and its people.
The Prime Minister, Minister of Territorial Administration and Decentralization, Major General Abdoulaye Maiga, launched the activities of the second edition of the National Week of the Harmonization of the Use of State Symbols at the Balafaseke Kouyate's Conservatory of Art and Craft Multimedia this week. A report by Mamari Kone and Gausu DIARRA.
The execution of the national flag and national anthem was executed as well as the anthem of the Sahel states. Prime Minister and his delegation spoke about the valorization of the national flag and also the harmonization of the symbols of state. Dr. General Abdoulaye Maiga, Malian Prime Minister, It was an honor for him to speak about the importance of the symbols of states. In fact, the symbols of state are about national anthem and also national flag. These symbols are the soul of our nation. For this reason, we use our national language to execute our national anthem. Nowadays, our national language is taught in our schools in order to valorize our symbols of state. The symbols of state participate in the training of the people in our country. Nowadays, our main purpose is to valorize these symbols, which will strengthen the training of the people in order to love their own country. This ceremony was about the reinforcement of the symbols of state which incite the people to love their own country.
Friendly and working visit by the Prime Minister, head of the government of Guinea. Major General Abdoulaye Maïga held working meeting with his Guinea counterpart, Amadou Ouriba. The two discussed topics of mutual interest relating to economic and trade cooperation. These included the rail interconnection project, the operationalization of new freight transit corridors and transhumance. Mamari Kone and Angel Dambele for more details.
At precisely 38 a.m., the plane carrying the ministerial delegation led by the Prime Minister landed at Ahmed Sékou Touré International Airport in Conakry. Upon arrival, the Prime Minister welcomed by his Guinean friend, Master Amadou Riba, and the Malian community living in Guinea. The Prime Minister and his Guinean brother held a meeting at the airport. At the Prime Minister's office, the two leaders held a broader meeting focused on regional issues, sub-regional stability, and the prospects of strengthened relationship between the two countries. After conveying the greetings of transition, President Lieutenant General Assimi Goïta to the President and the people of Guinea, the Prime Minister explained the purpose of his mission, which instructed by the head of state. On the agenda were 8 pending files with the Guinean authorities covering several development fields. This includes the signing of an economic and trade cooperation file, the operationalization of the new freight transit corridor, the relaunch of the Mali-Guinea rail interconnection project, and a memoranda of understanding regulating interstate transhumance. The Guinean Prime Minister enjoyed the quality of the relationship between Mali and Guinea before declaring his country's commitment to working alongside Mali. After the meeting, the press conference which took place allowed the Prime Minister to address the recent fuel crisis in Mali.
In unison with the international community, Mali commemorates World Anti-Corruption Day on December 9th, 2025, an annual event that questions public integrity at the heart of institution and society. Reiterating the theme of the previous edition, uniting with youth against corruption, shaping the integrity of tomorrow. Our country, Mali, reaffirms the strategic role of its youth in the moral and civic rebuilding of the nation. Garibou Peru and Maria Kulubali.
Corruption is not an accident but a patient methodical system that replaces the law with favoritism, fairness with collusion, and transparency with secrecy. When a society accepts two sets of rules, one written and one above, the very foundation of the state slowly and dangerously crumbles. Today's small act of tolerance pave the way for tomorrow's major embezzlements, and the first victims are always the young, those who have neither resources nor will for to offer. To corrupt is to confiscate their future before it even begins, and the government's call to unite with youth against corruption to forge the integrity of tomorrow. According to the Minister of Justice, the celebration of this day is taking place at the time when our country is undergoing a process of state reform. This launching ceremony of the National Anti-Corruption is an eloquent expression of the political will and commitment of the highest authorities of the transition, in particular the President of the Transition Head of State, His Excellency Army General Assimi Goïta, to the relentless and irreversible fight against corruption in our country. Corruption undermines institutions and acts as a tax. Combating it is not the responsibility of a single government but a shared one.
South Africa Embassy in Mali, in partnership with the Institute of Higher Islamic Studies and Research, organized this Tuesday 11, 2025 in Hôtel de l'Amitié of Bamako, a workshop about the cultural and tangible heritage. A report Maria Koulibaly and Moussa Diarra.
South Africa, in partnership with the Institute of Advanced Islamic Studies and Research, intends to strengthen the links of friendship and cooperation between itself and Mali. It is within this framework that the theme of this fourth edition was African Intangible Cultural Heritage, a vector for consolidating the state, strengthening national cohesion, and promoting a culture of peace, a theme that is particularly timely according to the South African ambassador.
Conflict resolution. That is the purpose of the seminar. And we normally hold this seminar annually, every year. This is the fourth edition, whereby the South African Embassy and the Institute of Ahmed Baba, through their partnership, we host this seminar. The theme for this year is focusing more on culture. It coincides with the government declaration of making 2025 the year of culture. I live in Mali, I am happy in Mali, I love Mali, I am comfortable in Mali, I live well with the Malians. We do have sound and cordial diplomatic relations with the Malian government. We have good relations with the Malian people.
The Director General of the Institute of Advanced Islamic Studies and Research expressed his satisfaction and honor with this partnership. According to him, South Africa has invested heavily in the project undertaken by the Institute, providing assistance in various ways. It should be noted that this fourth edition was attended by several prominent figures, including the Chief of Staff of the Minister of Higher Education and Scientific Research, professors, and many others. We eagerly await the fifth edition in 2026.
Good morning, everybody. How are you? Talking about past habits. Okay? You did an action in the past and you want to tell this action, okay? And this action is finished. At this time, you use used to. Used to is used to talk about past habits, okay? I explain again, you did an action in the past and you don't do this action any longer, and you talk about this action about past, okay? We have use, and we use simple past. Use is used with the simple past, okay? Used to is an expression, that is an expression, and we use in the simple past, okay? You see simple past, I used to smoke 2 packets of cigarettes a day. Okay, that means in the past you smoked cigarettes and now you don't smoke any longer. You did this habit in the past. Okay, we have three forms: affirmative form, negative, and interrogative. Okay, about affirmative form, we use used to, okay? The subject plus verb, plus infinitive to, okay? I used to smoke 2 packets of cigarettes a day. That is an affirmative sentence. Okay, after that, we have a negative sentence. And about negative sentence, we use didn't. Okay, subject plus didn't plus infinitive verb. Okay, about negative form, we don't use, ed after didn't. Okay, be careful. Negative form is subject, didn't plus, infinitive verb. Okay, I didn't use to smoke cigarettes. Okay, this is a negative form. After that, we have interrogative form. About interrogative form, we use did because we have the simple past. Okay, in the simple past, you want to ask question, in the interrogative form, you use did. After did, subject. After subject, the verb. Okay, did you use? Did you use to smoke cigarettes? I translate into French. Bon, donc nous utilisons, c'est très simple, nous utilisons used to pour exprimer les habitudes du passé. Bon, donc si vous voulez exprimer les habitudes du passé, vous utilisez used to. Et quand vous utilisez used to se conjugue au passé en anglais, simple past. Bon, donc maintenant, used to c'est comme une expression. I used to, à la forme affirmative, nous mettons le sujet, après le sujet, le verbe, après le verbe, l'infinitif to. Okay? I used to smoke 2 packets of cigarettes a day. Bon, donc, j'avais l'habitude, j'avais l'habitude de fumer 2 paquets de cigarettes par jour. Okay? Vous avez cette habitude-là par le passé et vous ne faites plus. Bon, donc maintenant, en ce moment, vous exprimez used to. Ok, ça c'est la forme affirmative. À la forme affirmative, c'est le sujet plus le verbe plus l'infinitif to. Et à la forme négative, nous avons le sujet I didn't plus didn't plus le verbe. Bon, donc, didn't au simple past, au passé. Bon, donc, pour mettre la phrase à la forme négative, on utilise didn't. Ok? Didn't plus verbe. Ça, c'est la forme négative. Didn't plus le verbe. Bon, donc, I didn't use to smoke cigarettes. Bon, donc, je n'avais pas l'habitude de fumer la cigarette. Ou bien, je ne fumais pas la cigarette. Bon, donc, ici, en ce qui concerne, ici, quand vous avez didn't est suivi de l'infinitif du verbe. Et didn't, après didn't, on ne met pas ed. Il faut faire beaucoup attention. Bon, donc, après ça, à la forme interrogative en anglais, nous utilisons did pour faire une phrase interrogative au passé, au simple past. Bon, donc en anglais, on utilise did. Et did est suivi du sujet plus use. Et encore, on ne met pas de. Vous voyez? Did you use to smoke cigarettes? Aviez-vous l'habitude de fumer la cigarette? Ok? Ou bien, est-ce que vous fumiez la cigarette? Bon, donc, did you use to smoke cigarettes? Ok. Used to and the conditional, used to and would are similar. We can use used to talk about past habits. Okay. At the same time, we can use would to talk about past habits. I give an example about would. Okay. Example: a grandmother would tell us good African stories. Bon, donc ici, la grand-mère nous racontait des bonnes histoires africaines. Okay. Grand-mère nous racontait. Okay, we use would in this sentence in order to talk about past habits. When we were younger, father would bring us to the beach every Saturday. Bon, donc quand nous étions jeunes, le père nous amenait à la plage tous les samedis. Bon, donc maintenant, vous avez vu, ça c'est le passé. Ok, cette action c'est déjà passé. Bon, donc, et vous voulez exprimer ça, vous utilisez would. Ok, after that, we have the simple present. Ok, About simple present, we have no longer. No longer is an expression. Any longer also is an expression. Okay, how to use no longer and any longer? Okay, essentially, we conjugate when we have no longer or any longer, we conjugate the verb in the simple present. Okay, and no longer is an adverb. Okay, no longer and any longer are similar. Okay, there is a difference between the use. For example, how to use no longer in a sentence. We have no longer, we use no longer, before the verb. Okay, it is an adverb. C'est comme un adverbe. Bon, donc si vous avez no longer est placé avant le verbe. Vous avez vu? Bon, donc I no longer smoke cigarette. Je ne fume plus de cigarettes. Okay, that is a sentence. We place any longer at the end of sentence. Bon, donc any longer se place en fin de la phrase. She doesn't go to the swimming pool any longer. Elle ne va plus à la piscine. La piscine en anglais, c'est swimming pool. Bon, donc maintenant, nous avons utilisé any longer. Pourquoi? Parce que dans cette phrase, nous avons la forme négative. La forme négative en anglais, c'est don't ou doesn't, ok, au présent de l'indicatif. Bon, donc maintenant, she doesn't go to the swimming pool any longer. Bon, donc any longer se place en fin de la phrase. Ok, this is a lesson for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end of our English program of today. We'll be together next Saturday at 5:30 p.m. and Sunday at 10 a.m. for another English time. May God bless Mali. Goodbye.